Hey, today I'm going to explain to you a bit more about the passive. The structure of the passive is to be plus another verb in past participle. Important, the tense of the verb to be changes to make tenses in the passive. Are you being served? Imagine someone asks you at a restaurant, are you being served already? That is an example of the passive in present continuous. My car is insured with GMP. That is an example of the passive in present simple. Were they taken to visit the cathedral? They, the tourists. Were they taken to visit the cathedral? That is an example of the passive in the past simple. We've been invited to a wedding. This is an example of the present perfect. I'd love to be introduced to a film star, for example, Brad Pitt. That is the infinitive. That might be considered at the wedding. That might be considered at the meeting. That is a modal verb with a construction in the passive. Passive sentences move the focus from the subject to another element in the sentence. This element is the object of the sentence. The object of the sentence can be a thing, a place, a person, anything. Objects come after certain verbs. For example, Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. Hamlet is the object of the verb wrote. What did Shakespeare write? The answer to these kind of questions is the object of the sentence, Hamlet. The passive construction should be Hamlet, the focus, this element we want to focus in the sentence goes at the beginning of the sentence. So Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. Sometimes we include the agent, the subject of the sentence after by. Sometimes we don't, because the passive is used when we don't know the agent, we don't care about the agent, or simply to change the focus of one element, and then we could mention the agent. Something important about the passive is, as I said here, the object can be a thing, a place, or a person. And some verbs can have two objects. Examples of these verbs are give, send, lend, show, offer, promise, send, lend, oh my God, I repeated them. And the passive would be more common starting with the person, I mean, the object that is a person, because that would more probably be the focus of the sentence. Look at this example. They offered Michael the job. Michael was offered the job. To say the job was offered to Michael, first of all, we need the preposition to mention the other object, but I think it's more probable that we want to emphasize, we want to talk about Michael than the job itself, right? It would depend on the situation, of course. So for this kind of verbs, we have two options to form the passive. Now, something important about the passive is when we think about our own language, Spanish for most of us, is we don't use this exact structure in Spanish. I mean, yeah, we can translate directly a sentence into Spanish, like that might be considered at the meeting. Puede que eso sea considerado en la junta, ¿no? Eso podría ser considerado en la junta, eso que mencionas, ese tema, ese asunto, podría ser considerado en la junta, and we can translate directly, but sometimes we can't. A sentence like Michael was offered the job, or a sentence like we've been invited to a wedding, or even are you being served, sound weird in Spanish if we use a passive construction like this, verb to be and past participle. In the other video, I explain some examples of the passive or the strategies Spanish offers to focus focus on one element of the sentence, to focus on the object of the sentence. Check them out too.